Hello and welcome to Overview Overwatch. So this is the channel where I get to sit down with members of the Overwatch community and pick their brains on some questions that I have. So today I'm joined by Gio, who is the ex-head coach for Shoes Money Crew. Gio, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah, I'm Gio. I'm ex-head coach of Shoes Monaco. I was there for like 10, 11 months, something like that. Previous year called Ex-Oblivione and Merigo. Been in Contenders like nearly 2.5, 3 years now, I think. Yeah, about 3 years now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
been at it a while anyway, for sure.
yeah.
So before we
Some say a
go,
little too long.
hardly. Before we go any further, I need to ask who your main is.
Well, I've been playing a lot more ranked recently. Like I've just gotten to I'm thinking like top 110 right now. I've been
Nice.
playing a lot more Sojourn, Tracer, Echo. I used to just play Tracer on CD, which kind of felt a bit rough on the release of Overwatch 2, to be honest. Like
Fair.
the amount of effort you've got to put into the game, not so good when you've just got a Sojourn who can one-shot the lobby. Not
Fair,
so
fair.
fun.
So thinking of Tracer, then, do you think Tracer's in a good place now, or does she need a bit more tweaking?
Uh, I don't. I've always seen Tracer as like the benchmark hero, where like she is like what people should be balancing around her, rather than it being like, hey, we need to gut her. Like obviously Pulse Bomb has been tuned a little bit, but like her base damage I feel like should be fine. Like 200 damage Tracer was fine, but they needed to add like Fall Off to make her playable because of how her playstyle is, because she's not never people play her like this assassin and stuff and it's not like efficient at all. And then like when they add like too much damage, she's too good at being an assassin because one, support players are bad, but two, they don't really have the deterrence, right? Like Cassidy got his flash changed
Mm,
to magnetic grenade.
yeah,
I think that's the name. And then Brig removed her stun, right? She doesn't
mm,
even have an interrupt, so like you have no deterrence for her, right? Like the big counters, well, not counters, but the big annoyances for Tracer, right, were pre-Brig. Like if you have Brig Anna, Tracer's not killing anything.
yeah.
And when you're playing like Lucio Anna, she can kill a lot more because the Lucio has to 1v1 her, but most Lucios in ranked are never going to do that, like ever. So she's just a little bit free to kill whoever she wants. So
Fair, fair. Okay, yeah, I think that's fair. Like, I mean, she's like you said, a benchmark hero for as Tracer. I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty good. Like I'd like to see the game balanced around Tracer being viable but not busted. I think that would put us in a pretty good spot. I think it's hard
I
to do
mean,
though.
I think Tracer's just one of those heroes that her hero design is very versatile. So in reality, you want her basically like always semi-playable, right? Like always playable to a degree.
Yeah,
That's why she's always been like a must pick, right? She can always be picked into like every comp. She's like sometimes worse than other heroes, but she's never like the worst choice, and
yeah,
she's always fairly consistent compared to like old Genji in Overwatch 1, right? Where you have 17 stuns. So if he goes in, he's basically has to play it perfectly to win.
yeah.
If he doesn't play it perfectly, he gets one shot. So
Fair.
it's a little bit of a pain. But I think it's the same with like Soldier and stuff as well, to be honest. I think Soldier, Tracer, Anna are like heroes that just like are heroes that like almost not define the game, but they're not in like a horrible spot ever,
Mm.
and like they should be playable, but
I
people don't.
Yeah, I always thought of Diva in Overwatch One, especially. Diva was that kind of hero for the tank role where she was never. Well, I mean, she was very strong, but
She was very, very
she
strong
was
for
she
a
was very
while.
strong for a little while, alright. But I always found she was never like she was always good to balance around. She just had that kind of hero design that was good to balance around.
Yeah, I mean, I think Diva was overtuned for the longest time. Where when Sig got released, it was kind of weird because you had to do a lot more as Diva to outplay the Sigma.
Fair.
Like way too much more, and then they ended up nerfing Sig and stuff as well.
Yeah.
But Diva's just like Diva going into Overwatch 2, I feel like she's just does too much, right?
Yeah.
Because like they buffed her damage and stuff, and
Mm.
for no real reason. Like she's a tank that can defend her team, tank that can dive the enemy backline, and then make whoever's diving with her invulnerable while she's doing a million damage with her E and
Yeah,
then a million damage with her M1. So then she can just do defense and attack really, really well in ranked, and she has a really good FFA playstyle. She's just a big Genji, right?
yeah,
Kind of funny. But then you've got heroes like Monkey, where it's just they have to make a good decision, and if they don't make a good decision, they die,
fair.
which is very weird. That's why I don't really like Orisa right now because she always has cooldowns up and she can do whatever she wants in the game at all. Like, oh, hey guys, she's got no fortify. Oh, she just ran off. Okay, that's cool actually. Oh, hey, she just ran into us. Oh, she's fortifying. She's got an extra 150 HP. Oh, crazy actually. Oh, okay. I'm a squishy target. I just got pinned against the wall in one shot because I'm CC'd against the wall and she just crit me. That's crazy. Like,
Yeah,
not
I don't think
not engaging.
I don't think you're alone in thinking the Arisa needs a little bit of a touch, and we'll get
Yeah.
into that definitely. I think a little bit later, but I just want to circle back to you here. I mean, like you said, about 2.5 years of coaching experience, Sheer Cold, Merry-Go, XO, and then of course finishing off there with Choose Money Crew. What was it that brought you into the role as a coach then at the very beginning?
What was it? I mean, like, I think it's season 11 Overwatch 1, so that's a while ago. I started playing because believe it or not, it's funny enough because like I actually really dislike the guy's content now. But I used to watch Jane. I remember just binge watching YouTube while I was like cleaning. You know when you have like background noise.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw Overwatch. I was like, oh wait, I think I had bought that game and I never played it. And I was like, okay, let's go because I think I was like level 5 at the time, right?
Hmm.
Ended up playing a bit. I started playing. I ended up going into ranked because I was like a little bit delusional and stuff, and I kind of like entered some people's games down. I'm not gonna lie, I got flamed so hard in those games. My first few ranked games because I was like oblivious. That was during one of the World Cups, and I eventually started playing. I was like placed in like I don't know, like 2.1 or something like that. Started playing. I joined some random like bad team and just to like because I was like, oh, this seems really cool. And then I got better than the team. I got onto a better team, and then I got into like a low masters team. And I was like, okay, we wanted a coach. Had a coach come in. His name was Sebas. I think he was like a 4-3 player at the time. He was helping stuff. I was doing like ult tracking as like an off tank at the time, I think, because I wanted to play Tracer for the team, but the manager's boyfriend was the Tracer player, so that was a bit annoying, and I didn't know that I could just look for other teams, so I just was like, okay, let's do that. So I was like ult tracking stuff as Diva, and I used to talk to the like coach a lot, right? And we used to do like self-development stuff and like stuff for the team, and I really enjoyed that. And then I ended up
Yeah.
having other teams ask for help for that, and then it kind of like bunny hopped, where like I ended up helping like a 4K German team, and then from that 4K German team, I went to like a 4-4 team, Valhalla. I've got a lot of fun memories from Valhalla. Met some nice people there. Still talk to them. And then from Valhalla, I went to I met Ritter, which is probably one of my closest friends today, to be honest. And then joined a team with him to go to Anno Domini. And then met like my current friend group, I guess. And that kind of like just spiraled from like hopping one team to another, to another, to another. And then after Anno, I basically got bullied into trying out for Sheer Cold. Because I was like, I'm going to be straight up. I had no clue about contenders at the time. I was just like, this is fun. I was just enjoying doing it as like a
Yeah.
hobby.
Yeah.
And then I got bullied into doing that. I got denied my first time because I was bad. Straight up, I was just awful. Bucky was really nice to me, and then I applied again. And then Spilo said I was. There's a word I can't remember. He said he picked me up because I was disagreeable, which is
I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not, but
yeah. I mean, my first interaction before he even like picked me up, I literally said, "Yo, can we call?" And I had a chat with him. I was like, "If you're anything like you're on stream, I don't want to be near you. I'm not gonna lie." And I just said like I don't agree with some of the stuff you say, but I don't. If you're gonna be like slamming your desk and stuff, I'm not dealing with that. I was going to be straight up, and it was fun. I really liked Spilo. Spilo was like good cop, bad cop sort of deal. So I
Okay.
got very annoyed very quickly, which I've been fixed. I've pretty much fixed. If anything, I've gone too soft now, which is a little bit wild. But yeah, that happened there, and then Backbone got me on EXO pretty much. I'm pretty sure it was basically just like, yo, can try him out, because I was like, we ended up wanting to recast Sheer Cold. That had a bit of an issue because it wanted to be Backbone, Graph, and DPS line, and we wanted to, because Shade and Reford were retiring. Reford's back now, actually. And then we wanted to retrial the tank duo role and flex support anyway. So it ended up like being a thing. Ended up falling through anyway. And Bucky wanted to take control because she said she wanted to leave it to us. And then she got annoyed that she wasn't getting involved in it. And then she like flipped a switch and like all the tryouts got cancelled. It was a huge mess. It was really weird. Kind of ugly. That really like annoyed me because it felt like she was just backstabbing everyone at the time, because it effectively like ruined a load of things and made a load of teams go really funny.
Okay.
But I got on EXO, and that was really fun. That team kind of fell apart very quickly. Spilo was on there as well. That team fell apart really quick just because they lost Dollar to Falcons at the time.
Okay.
So it was one of those things that just
Fell apart. Yeah.
when you have these players that get replaced, when you do good as a team, right? So say you're coming top 3 as a team, you have one player get poached by a team better than you will get off his salary. You have this issue that now when you replace that player, if you suddenly do worse, everyone blames the player. When it's a 5-6 man issue, right? That player is different, and if you're playing like he's the previous player, you're obviously going to do worse, even if the player is better. So obviously you could always argue if the player's good, he'll adapt anyway, and you'll win. But not gonna go into that. I don't think it was exactly fair what they did to Curtis, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Like, I'm not gonna hold. I don't hold it against people. It was a stressful experience to say the least.
And I mean, coaching is, for all accounts, a pretty stressful role. Like, what are some of the things you find most difficult about coaching?
It's not even the coaching that I think is difficult. I think it's the self-development aspect. So say as a player, right? If you're tier 2, you can look at tier 1 players, for example, right? Even if you're tier 3, you can look at tier 1 players, right? You always have people you can like aspire to be better than, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when it comes to coaching, you don't exactly have like you don't see people's work. People don't like publish anything, right? At least the good staff members don't, at least. Obviously, to them, it's also like it's job security, I guess, because because coaching is one of the jobs that can actually last like multiple, like a long time, compared to being a player where it is generally considered you have a timer, which I don't necessarily agree with if you look at other esports. But in Overwatch, it's certainly like that, just because it's young. But I think the self-development bit is like the big scary part, to be honest, because it's just like you have to have players work with you, and if the players don't work with you, you can't develop. And the thing is if you're getting into the scene, for example, you're going to say things that are wrong, and it's okay, because the players are probably wrong as well. And the answer is usually somewhere like right in the middle, because you might say you're being too aggressive, and then the player says, yeah, but I don't want to be passive and AFK the entire game.
Yeah.
And then you're both probably right, because one, the player's probably in Zenyatta's face and he can't track for his life. And the coach wants him to be like playing more chill and wanting to wait for his tank to engage and stuff. When in reality, it's probably more in the middle where he wants to be. I can't say that word. He wants to be massaging the Zen for damage, so he can actually maybe get the kill or something in rank. So like, a lot of that stuff comes from communication, and a lot of players aren't well versed in that, because especially in the West, I think that most of the players are these players who they play the game because they have some sort of issue in their life, to be honest, or they just get not addicted to games, but they just want to prioritize it, right? Like, say for example, like they want to prioritize. They don't like their school. They don't like
Yeah.
what they're studying and stuff. They like go play games instead, or they just have missed priorities and stuff. So
Yeah.
or they're just being a degenerate. No, nothing against that. I'm a degenerate too. But you end up having these like barriers, right? Which is why you see a lot of issues with people where like pro players and stuff say something that seems a bit weird or do stuff that's really weird, and like because the mental boundary isn't there in their head. And people seem to neglect that because they seem to think that they've had like a quote unquote normal upbringing, when in reality, I'm pretty sure the majority of players have some sort of issues, at least in the West. I think it's a little bit different in the East because there's more infrastructure for
Yeah.
people. But in the West, it's definitely like that, where they like have really bad communication skills and saying like, "Oh, okay, whatever," because you have these things where people just talk behind people's back all the time. Obviously, it's going to be a thing in Korea and stuff as well, right? But it's
Yeah.
at least people can like talk, and
Yeah.
like
I think
over here, people don't want to talk to each other. Like they have a thing, EU at least, right? If you think, I'll just drop names. For example, right, got completely gassed up on his way out of tier 3, right? He got really, really gassed. People said he was really, really good. I was probably one of the only people who said, I don't think he's that good, because he's not good. He is okay, right? But he gets overgassed, and then he gets like ego, and he thinks he's really good, and he can stay where he is, right? Instead of having that determination to improve. I actually feel bad for him because he's kind of like fell off, and I don't think anyone's talked to him about it. But I know people are saying things behind his back. I'm just going to say it straight up, and people don't want to be honest to him. When in reality, if you were honest with him from the start, he probably would be really, really good by now. And I feel like that's a shame for him, to be honest, because it's doing him a disservice, right?
Yeah.
Like he could be really, really good, but
he just didn't get that support that he actually needed, as opposed to
like it's the same. If you're having people tell you you're really, really good at X hero, Y hero, then cool. If you have people saying, yeah, you're like decent at those heroes, but you can't play this hero or that hero, why? Like, what's the, like you gives you something to improve towards. If you have people like criticizing you and stuff, even if like it's a nice way. Like my friend Hira, he has this thing where he will flame his duos consistently because he wants to see his duos do better, right? When I don't think any other player like flames their duo, they're like, oh, it's fine, don't worry, I don't mind, and it's just like it doesn't help anybody.
yeah.
If you run the game down, it's okay. No one cares. It's a video game. Like, at least be honest with yourself. Like, it's not that deep.
Fair. Just to pivot here, like obviously there's like I said, a stressful job. There are a lot of negatives here, but you got into this for a reason. What did you enjoy most about coaching? Like, what is it that you really enjoy?
I mean, when I was at school and stuff, I used to like help people with their schoolwork a lot. Like that was just something that I just like did. Well, I just enjoy helping in that regard, right? Where I like feeling useful. Where I what's it called? I find purpose in like helping people do what they want to do. I find that really nice. It gives me some self-reward. Like if I have a friend say I need help with this, it's like, okay, cool. Like when my girlfriend went to uni, I remember her like asking, like saying, oh, I'm stuck on this. I used to ask questions. I used to like help search stuff up for her for like hours on end and stuff. Same thing in like Overwatch and stuff, right? Where like if someone's struggling with some random thing, I'll look stuff up if I don't know, and I'll like look for stuff. Not necessarily to do with like game info, but more to do with like mechanics and stuff, right? Whether their movement's funny, I'll like 0.25 their mods and stuff. Just to see if like they're just like messing up, and you've got to go off like a lot more intuition and stuff.
Fair.
That stuff's really fun, and then seeing people like seeing people pop off when you like go through stuff, like is really satisfying. I still have a player that Shade made on Share Cold in Gauntlet that is like stuck in my head, and I send it to people whenever I talk about this actually. And it just is resonating in my head all the time, and it's like that stuff makes you feel good. He's making my chest go funny now even. That's like that was 2020. That was 2020. Like it's a while ago. So it's kind of funny. I think those stuff, that stuff is what makes it really, really fun.
Yeah, fair.
Just that feeling. I'm not really. I am competitive, but it's not like that's not my main driving factor. I don't think.
Yeah. What advice then do you have for prospective coaches? You know, maybe someone in tier 3, or maybe someone who's just a player who's thinking about getting into coaching.
Don't be scared. You're going to be wrong. That's fine. Like that is the big thing. You don't have to be right. And for the love of God, do not yell at your players for disagreeing with you, because I'm not gonna lie, you are probably wrong still. There's a couple of people I know who were in tier 3 who are still the same people because they just scream at players and thinking that's what they need to do. And they will just die on a hill for no reason, right? I think it's fine to defend your point of view, of course, but you need to talk and work with players rather than it being I am above you, so I get to decide sort of thing.
Yeah.
When you're learning, it's a lot more linear.
Yeah.
I still feel like I'm on that linear level. I'm not like above anyone or anything ever. I still have ego when it comes to stuff because I still have a particular view on stuff, and people haven't proven that wrong still. I have had some issues where I might misprioritize stuff, which is probably a different thing, but I like time management myself. But yeah, I think that's the big stuff, is just making sure that you can communicate with people and get knowledge from them, because everyone has, like, even if people are naive, it helps. Like, because it's just like, oh, why do we do this? And you have to be like, okay, actually, yeah, why do we do this for like the past however long, right? And then you think about it and you go, I can't give a reason, so can we try not doing it? And then you try not doing it and it works because it's fine.
Fair.
It's a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a little teaser there of your thoughts on Orisa near the start of the episode. So let's talk about balance then. I mean, Roadhog, Orisa, the two big names at the moment, they're currently the most oppressive tanks in the game. Do you think it's as bad as people are saying it is?
Yes, bring back old Orisa. Just remove pull and give her the spear. Unironically.
Shield
I
and
would
all.
love yes.
Bongo?
Yes. I'm unsure about that. I think Bongo's kind of busted, but Bongo is busted. It's like 60% win rate. But like, maybe you could give her new ult as well, because it's basically like, we are bunker hero. If you come dive here, I am going to new ult you, pretty much, right? Where you just basically zone off the entire area. So like, I think it works. I think it's nice.
Yeah, fair.
I don't like the new hero design at all, just because she does everything, and like, you can't punish her. Like, at least with old Orisa, right? Her shield is pretty paper thin, and she has to get value with it, right? With her pull. I think pull would be completely broken in 5v5. I don't think that's healthy for the game at all, which is why I said change it to the spear. But like, at least she has like tempo, and she can like keep going and stuff, and like, it's not a bad character at all. And it's like a character that's almost like been such a big part of Overwatch 1, for example, right? And they just decided to gut her. When in reality, the reason why the hero is busted is because of who she's paired with. And she has like such good pairings, right?
Yeah.
Because of the pull. The pull is the broken bit, not the shield.
Fair.
The shield feels broken because of Sigma. No one was complaining about Orisa shield when it was Diva Orisa meta, right?
That's true. That's true.
No one's complaining about the shield when it's Hog Orisa meta either. Like, it's when it was double shield, it feels awful. Pull's broken.
Yeah, fair.
Hog, on the other hand, is a little wild. Hog's always had this issue where I like talking with a friend about this before, and he said he's basically a Widowmaker, but he's a 5-meter Widowmaker, right? Where like he'll just one-shot you in his face, which is just ugly. The hero design itself is really odd because you're like, taking this champion with a pull and you're giving him one-shot capability, when in reality, like if you look at most like MOBA-ish games with heroes with pulls, they don't have the ability to one-shot you. They are like able to either CC you or like annoy you, and then the people around that hook character will kill them. Where in Overwatch, he can be AFK for, I don't know what hook cooldown is right now, like 8, 9, 10 seconds, something like that. He can be AFK around the corner and then he can just jump peek and hook you. And if he misses, oh look, he goes right back around the corner. And he can just do that over and over if he wants to. And that's, you have to respect him way too much, right? What I was wanting to do with the character, I was talking to a friend of ours, Taboo, and he's basically saying how, why is it not an ultimate? Because it's the most busted part of his kit. And I kind of agree. Like if it was like an 800, 900 damage ult, right? So where it's like up fairly frequently, right? But the Hog is vulnerable while he's getting it, right? So you can at least punish him for walking up and trying to do damage.
Okay.
You can actually not be scared for one, and then you can have his ult on his shift or something, so he's still an anti-dive hero, right? Where like you can burst through like Monkey Bubble really, really fast.
Okay.
And you can obviously don't keep it as an ult level strong, right? You can nerf the damage, you can nerf the boop and stuff, right? But it basically means the cringe part of his kit is like not easily accessible and readily able, because that is the cringe part of his kit. I don't think he needs to be 700 HP. The thing is with like HP buffs is that it's not actually their HP. It's even bigger than that, right? You have an Ana pocketing a Hog.
Yeah.
You've got that 75 healing per shot, and then so that 700 HP health pool is more like 1500, which is a little wild. Whereas before it might be like 1k, right?
Yeah.
Because that exponentially goes as that little health bar goes up, right?
Yeah.
Which is why Kree also feels awful, right? Because it messes with breakpoints and it increases his effective HP pool by a lot. And that's why Hog is also like pretty unkillable as well, which is just it's such a weird decision for them to make.
Yeah. Speaking with Cloudy last week, he had the opinion that Hog was less of an issue than Orisa was. He had the opinion that Orisa was really the
Ryan. Bro plays Ryan. Of course he's going to say that. Bro can press M2 and then, oh look, he can't get hooked. Orisa presses E and walks into him, and as soon as he goes for a swing, he gets right clicked. Of course he's not going to like that.
So you disagree with him, then you think Hog is a bigger issue than Orisa?
I mean, I think Orisa, okay, I think they're two different illnesses. One is like terminally ill, and one is like you're guaranteed to die if it's bad, but if it's not so bad, say you've got okay heroes, it's not so bad, which is like Hog, right? Like Hog.
Okay.
Hog is either going to make you want to end existence, or you're not really going to care because he's bad and he's just walking into 5 people all game and dying. Well, Orisa, I feel like will always get value, and she just feels awful to play against, right? Because she can't be punished as easily.
Okay.
Fair. I feel like they both feel awful, horrently to play against.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how tanks are, to be honest, at the moment.
Fair, but it's not.
I think all tanks are broken, so
it's not only tanks though that are kind of under a little bit of flack. I mean, there's been a decent amount of discussion about Mercy and Zen, and to be more specific, talking about damage boost in Overwatch. Do you think there's a place for damage boost? Are these kind of concerns valid?
Damage boost has been broken for the longest time. People don't care enough because the game is not in a place where it's ever been annoying. Obviously, whenever it creates a breakpoint to create a one-shot, so imagine old Ashe, where she could one-shot with damage boost. People cried that damage boost was broken then. But the thing is that damage boost in itself is not really the issue. It's more the breakpoints it messes with, which is the actual issue, right? Because damage boost shouldn't be this thing that you're using to change breakpoints in the game, right? It should just be enabling you to do more.
Okay.
But like people are complaining about Mercy, and like who do you play instead of Mercy? You've got Krika being strong, you've got Ana being okay, Lucio being okay, Mercy being okay. But like if you are playing for DPS, Mercy's better than Lucio. in ranked at least. You can't play Brig because what happens? An Orisa presses E at you, spears you, and then, oh, look, while she's about to die, she presses shift, and then she gets Kiriko E'd, and then, oh, look, she's alive. So you just die for nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, they play Jungle Queen, you get axed, and you die. Like,
Yeah.
you have to have a team to play around, and it's just not fun.
Mm.
Where, like, the issue right now is the fact that the game is in such a weird pacing. So, like, Blizzard did this thing where... So they wanted to increase the pace of the game. How do you do that? You can remove stuns. You can decrease the team's health pool. So by how do you do that? You can either remove the tank from the game, or you can increase like burst damage or DPS over time, right? Obviously, increasing damage feels bad for everyone involved, right?
Yeah.
You just getting one shot is not fun.
Mm.
But removing stuns, removing the character as well, it does damage and has CC and sustainabilities as well is also bad. So then the game just sped up, obviously because of that. Because you can force engages a lot easier now. I think Jungle Queen meta is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
I had an annoying read on that at the start because I was like, "It's fine, you can chill and tank," but in reality, it's just like run at them lol. Like it's just a TLDR. Which is just really not engaging. You can do that. The same thing was happening at the start. If you remember was it the first meta with the Monkey Lucio Anna, where you're just rotating backline on top of them perma? Whoever gets the nade first wins.
Yeah.
Exactly. TLDR. Like that stuff is like that for the Monkey meta. It was really good, I think, actually. 'Cause it's a fun comp to watch. But for other stuff where it's just straight up brawl, it's not so fun. And like you have no like slow pacing, and it makes the game really unwatchable. Why do people hate goats? Because it felt unwatchable half the time. As soon as the fight goes into a brawl, it's not fun. Like when you watch games like Rocket League or even football or League of Legends, right? You have like these phases in the game where you have like laning phase, right?
Yeah.
You can watch people 1v1, and it's really slow at start, and you have like team fights and stuff, and the game evolves, right?
Yeah.
In Overwatch, it's more just like hold a corner, fight, hold a corner, fight, hold a corner, fight, and you've got some like phases, right? But like, it's not. You can't really predict what's going to happen from like a caster's POV, right? Because like you can kind of guess when people go on funny flanks and stuff, but like with Sojourn, how she was one-shotting somebody. Oh, okay. Both Sojourns have rail, who's going to win the duel, and you have a 50-50 chance of who you're spectating. And if you're spectating the person who dies, that's not so fun to watch. Which is a little bit wild, I think. I think in general, it's so... I don't even know, but I forgot what I was talking about. I'm not gonna lie.
It's all good. It's all good. So we're gonna circle back here. So we've been talking about two kind of main points here. The first one being on the ladder dealing with the likes of Orisa and Roadhog, but also we have the competitive play where we're talking about the metas, the Junker Queen meta, and we're going to probably see once pro play gets winding back up with the World Cup and stuff. Without any changes, we're going to see a lot of Orisa and Roadhog, I imagine. But there's a lot more than just going into the match in a tournament match that we see as viewers. So, could you explain just a little bit about kind of scrimming and VOD reviewing to maybe someone who's not too familiar with it? And particularly, I just want to try and find like where do you find the balance between them? What are those kind of numbers in a week?
I mean, I can give to the like general points. I think a lot of it is up for debate, whether it's like the most efficient way to go around it, but it's the standard, which is really hard to fix as soon as something becomes a standard, it's really hard to change.
Yeah.
Because you end up imagine coming in as like somebody and trying to be like, okay, we want to change our schedule, and now you've got to talk to every single scrim partner and be like, hey, now you have to change our schedule to scrim us. So it's not going to happen. But in general, scrims are like friendly matches, right? So you're just practicing. You usually go from like 5 to 6 maps per block, which usually go over 2 hours. Usually you'll split the maps like 50-50 on like what you want to play and what they want to play. Some people really, really, really like to take host, which is a bit of an ego trip. For them, at least, it's like a little bit mental warfare the entire time. Very funny. But you have these friendly matches and stuff where you have to choose what you want to practice. That's where you see like teams like mix stuff up after a patch or whatever. You have people be like, "Oh, I think this is broken," and they try it, and it's not as broken as they think, or it's even more broken than they think. You have some amount of like comp theory, but it's not. I don't think EU's at that place. I think they, if you look at the end of Overwatch 1, you'll see that the comp theory is not really a thing in EU. It's more about like refining what people already want to play. That's a big part of it, at least, which is probably a reason why we're not the best region. So I think we've still got potential. It's its own thing. VOD reviews can be done in like a few different ways. You've got like people who, like for example, Spilo really like doing 30-minute VODs before scrims, and then you'd have like maybe like a 10-15 minute one in between if you could get away with it, depending on like how busy people are. That's usually saying, okay, this is what we messed up on, we want to like focus on this and this is what we're going in wanting to do, right? It's not even a VOD, it's more just saying, this is what we glossed over last VOD, we want to improve on that because of this. I much prefer going through people one-on-one and chatting that way. One, just because it's like a lot more easier to have a conversation, because a lot of players feel really awkward speaking up in front of people, a lot of time, unless they're like really friendly, right? For example, in Merigo, that's not really an issue. Well, Merigo and SMC, it's not really an issue, right, for people to speak up. Whereas on like a newer team or team where people aren't like as comfortable, it's a lot more awkward. I really like doing one-on-ones because it's just fun. Like you just have a chat and you can like talk through stuff. And if you want like you want to have somebody else join because they're like paired up, like the first iteration of SMC, I did one with when it was the Zarya Reaper meta for us.
Yeah.
At the time, I don't know if anyone would actually saw that because I don't know if that was under thingy or not. I remember just sitting down with the Holy Pig and Twills and just being like, okay, this is what we want to do. This is how we want to set it up. And on like these chokes, we want you to rotate like this, and it should be fine, and it should be really easy, and it's chill. And it worked out really, really well. We did really, really good that meta. But then it's also really annoying because when they end up swapping a team after that, now they have to somehow communicate that to their new tank player or new DPS player who doesn't know it, or like they're just expecting them to know it because it's so obvious in their head now, which is just really funny. But that's like, I don't care about their new team, you know? But that stuff's really fun because the thing is like the supports don't really need to know it, right? The supports just need to position around where the enemy are going anyway, and if the tank, if the frontline know where they need to be and the backline know they need to be in relation to the enemy, they're going to be where they need to be in relation to each other.
Yeah, fair.
So it should be fine. I think there's like a lot of easy things you can do to make that like very smooth.
So then, you know, scrimming, VOD reviewing, like you were saying that you prefer the one-on-ones, but are you talking, does a team in tier 2 need to scrim double blocks every day for the week, or is that the most efficient way of doing it, or are they better off, you know, scrimming less and VOD reviewing more?
I mean, for example, Munich, friends with a lot of the Munich guys, when they won, not the Trust Me roster, they didn't want to scrim, like they want to scrim like once a day, right? And I remember Trust Me getting called a dictator because he was like, no, we scrim more, we scrim 2 times a day, 3 times a day, right? Because everyone else was just like fed up with the meta at that point, right? And they wouldn't have done as well if they didn't do that, to be honest. But that's also like forcing yourself to get better, right? If you're only double blocking to double block, you're gonna be bad because you're double blocking to double block, you're not double blocking to improve, right? If you have this thing where you are double blocking and your second block is always horrible because you don't have the motivation to do it, why are you double blocking? You're just wasting your time at that point. That's more to do with motivation and stuff itself. I don't think that's really. I can't really say that like double blocking is bad. I think in reality you should want to double block. And I think you should probably mix in triple blocks as well if you can, depending on players' schedules, because I know a lot of players are in school and stuff as well. You should be trying to practice, but that's more to do with if your players can, and if they can like get the determination behind it. The thing is that a lot of the players are pretty stagnant at the moment. If you consider how long they've been in Contenders. I'm not. That's not flame. That's more to do with the fact that like you've not had any reason to improve, right? Because of the franchise system. If there's like a spot to be in tier 1, right, people would be a lot more hungry.
Fair.
But when you don't have, when you've got players who've been in Contenders for like 2.5, 3 years, and they just get nothing out of an L tryout, they get like chucked off after the first stage.
It's hard.
How are they meant to like want to keep going? Because it's just like they know that they can be in Contenders and they can make money doing that, but like I think they know in their like head that they're probably not going to get Owl, or at least they feel resentful towards it. So it's kind of just it's really sad.
It's tough. Yeah, no, it's absolutely tough. So final question then. Do you have any advice for someone who's maybe not in tier 2, but maybe in tier 3 or on the ladder, and wants to get into tier 2?
Play ranked, a lot of ranked, and take it serious. You do not need to hot com. I beg. If you are a tank player and you 3-2-1 everything in your lobby, you are awful. Genuinely, you're genuinely awful because the enemy team is 100% not hard coming, and you're just creating and like obviously you can argue, be like, oh yeah, that's a utility, that's a tool to my advantage that I should use, right? But like you don't need to do it. You should be able to play off yourself mechanically, and that's why the majority of you are bad. Because you can just hardcom every lobby and you don't actually have to do anything yourself because you have like 2 Adderall up DPS players like following what you say. Wonder how that's gonna go. I think playing ranked is a really, really big part. I think scrimming is fine, but it's more scrimming for yourself. You need to realize as well that like your tier 3 team is not going to make it. To be honest, that's like straight up. Your 4-1, 4-2, 4-3, 4-4, like GM2, whatever now, team is not going to randomly go like top of Contenders or something. That's not real. I'm sure there's like a percentage chance, but like I'm just being reality there. You want to play for yourself. If somebody is stopping you from improving, then okay, you say I need to improve myself. It's not my job to improve you, because otherwise at that point you're basically becoming a coach. You need to focus on yourself. You need to improve yourself. You need to be selfish in general. That sounds really toxic, but you need to improve yourself and move forward that way. Because the thing is that like causes players to stagnate is like trying to improve the players around them. And if they don't want to improve, they're not. You're just wasting your energy at that point, and then you just get frustrated and upset, and it's not fun. A couple players I know who are like on the up. It's kind of good. But you need to be focused on yourself. If you don't focus on yourself, you're gonna be where you are for the rest of the time. There's like plenty of players in tier 3 who've been there since like 2019, and I don't think that's. I personally really dislike that because I don't think you should be allowed to get away with that. Like I'm not saying Holy Pig is good. Like I'm not saying he's Kevster or something, right? But like he used to get perma-flamed in ranked, like because he was bad, and he literally said to himself one year that he's like, okay, I'm gonna do good, and he's gonna improve, and guess what? Bro got better.
Yeah.
He's not the best player in the world, but he got better.
Fair.
And that's the same thing with a lot of players, right?
Yeah.
They just need that little spark inside of them. Like when I was like with Backbone, like his entire thing was he needed to get out. It wasn't he wanted to, he needed to do it, right? And if you don't have that sort of like drive for it, it's so like that's I do not have that personally. I'm gonna be straight up. I'm not ever expecting to be Owl. I don't want to really be there. I don't have that divine passion, you know?
Yeah. So what are your plans then for the future?
It's probably just gonna be. I have no clue. I think in general, I will probably still end up helping friends and stuff. If a team needs somebody, I'll probably help, but I'm not like. I have kind of already said to myself that I'm going to either just help friends and people I like, or if somebody wants help, I'll help them. Like I have like this open door policy where like a load of people, if you want help, message me and I'll help you. I don't really care. I don't really mind if you're on like opposing teams. So a friend of mine, I'm not gonna like leak anything. I think that's really cringe personally.
Yeah.
But I'll help people if they ask. I'm not like looking for a team. I don't really. If I've been asked like by like 2-3 different teams. I don't care. I say no, and then they ask again, and it's like I said no, and it's not to do with your roster. It's because I don't want to. I just don't want to work with your org. So it's just kind of annoying.
But I
I don't.
mean, like you said, helping friends, helping people out, like doing it
Yeah, I mean,
more altruistically is honorable.
I I just want to work with players that want to work, which is why if they come to me, they want to work, and that's fine. I'm
Fair.
enjoyable. But one thing in like teams and stuff, I do not want to have to chase players in any world. It's the
Yeah.
most demotivating thing on the planet. If I have to chase a player for like VOD for like 2 days, it's just not worth it.
That's fair.
And it's too much effort, especially when like tier 2 is not full employment. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if people seem to think that. Like I read comments on Reddit that seem to think that like Choose Money Crew is some like $1 million
It
org,
says money in the name, bro.
or like EXO is this like multi-billion-dollar company. Like no, like
Uh,
it's some like EXO's Kev with like a couple of brand people, and then the players. Like it's nothing special. They
yeah.
get paid on prize money, and you can see how much prize money they make. Like
Fair. Fair.
it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing special.
Okay, Gio, have you any final words for me?
Ah, follow me on Twitter at kin_gg. I think
Over
that's
there
the only
somewhere.
real
Where
one.
is it? Oh,
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah. I think she's probably supports tier 2 still. I think tier
Yeah.
2 needs to pop off for the game to be healthy. Because if you don't have these narratives, the game's not going to be where it should be, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Who would you like me to interview next?
Amir. I 100%
Amir.
Amir. Amir.
Okay. We might be.
Rose a homie. He's really nice, genuinely.
Okay, you heard it here. We have to get that sorted.
Yeah.
Gio, thank you very, very much for your time. I really appreciate it. It's been great having you on. It's been great chatting to you. I wish you all the best then going forward. So this
Thank
has
you.
been
Thank you.
another episode, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. You know where to catch me next Sunday for another episode. Take care.